Hi guys, so today I'm doing another book video and book review, and today's book is Mrs. Sinclair's Suitcase by Louise Walters. This was a Good Housekeeping reader recommended book, but that probably wasn't the reason why I picked it up. I literally just picked it up in Waterstones on a whim. So I have just already filmed this video, but I was out of frame and you could only see like the top bit of my head, so I thought hopefully this is in frame now and I'm gonna refilm it for you. So this one might be a little more rushed because I've already filmed it once. So this book is told by two perspectives. The first person you meet is a girl called Roberta, and it's set in today's modern world, and she works in a bookshop. And one day her father brings in some of her grandmother's old belongings, and one of the things he brings in is her suitcase. And on the suitcase it says Mrs. Sinclair's suitcase. And she's like, who is this Mrs. Sinclair? Because obviously her grandmother has a different last name. Her last name is Polish. And that instantly sparks some interest. And then she opens the suitcase and there's this letter in it. From this man called Jan, who is Roberta's grandfather, and he's written her this letter saying he's very disappointed in her about something that he did with a child, and they tell you that right on the front page of the book, so it's not really any spoilers. And so instantly it sparks your interest. You're like, what happened? What did Dorothy do? Dorothy is her grandmother. What's gone on between them? I will read you the back of this book. It says, Roberta likes to collect the letters and postcards she finds in second-hand books. When her father gives her some of her grandmother's belongings, she finds a baffling letter from the grandfather she never knew, dated after he supposedly died in the war. Dorothy is unhappily married to Albert, who is away at war. When an aeroplane crashes in the field behind her house, she meets squadron leader Jan, and a Polish last name I can't pronounce. And as their bond deepens, she dares to hope she might find happiness. But fate has other plans for them both, and soon she is hiding a secret so momentous that its shockwaves will touch her granddaughter many years later. So it goes between Roberta and her grandmother Dorothy, and the way that it's written, it helps you find out the different clues and piece together the timeline of what happens. At first I was a bit unsure whether I would like that, but as the book goes on, it fits all into place and you realise that that was a good way for the book to be written. So Roberta finds this letter and she wants to find out all these secrets. She wants to either ask her father or her grandmother, both of which are struggling with cancer and old age. So she doesn't really want to upset them and ask them, but obviously deep down she wants to know what's happened, because certain things don't add up. So it flicks between like modern day, and then her grandmother back during the war. And I did really enjoy this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I definitely enjoyed it more as the book went on. I will leave it there if you think you might want to read this book, and the rest of the video will contain events that happen later on in the book and possibly some spoilers. So if you think you might want to read this, even if you don't really like books set in wartime, I think you still might like this because it's got it's largely based like on romance and secrets and relationships, so it's not hugely based on the war, and it doesn't focus on that too much. So Dorothy lives with 2 girls who were sent to her, and I'm assuming are like land girls, and help with the war effort and work on a farm. And one day, one of the girls, Nina, claims that she's in a lot of pain. She thinks she's dying, and she's laid out in this barn on the farm. And they think it's very odd. They send for doctors, and then Dorothy puts together that she thinks she is pregnant. And lo and behold, there she goes and has a baby. None of them knew that she was pregnant. They thought she was just getting fat because she kept eating a lot and she just had to keep letting out her clothes. So obviously she didn't look pregnant, and the girl, because she's only 18, 19, she didn't put together the fact that she was pregnant. She hadn't had periods for months, and it was a total shock to them. Dorothy somewhat knew what to do because obviously she'd had a baby before. It was a stillborn birth, which you find out more about in the book, and how her and her husband greatly suffered from that, and that was probably what tore their relationship apart. But Nina, because she is only young, she says she doesn't want to be a mother, she doesn't want to have this child, and Dorothy offers to look after the baby, take her away, and then Nina can just carry on her life without the burden of everyone like gossiping about her, because obviously back then to have a child out of wedlock was pretty frowned upon. So that's what Dorothy decides to do. Nina's very happy about that, although the other girl, Aggie, is not so happy about it. So you find that out, and you start to piece together in your head, before it's even ever mentioned really in the book, that Dorothy's son John, who is Roberta's dad, isn't actually related to Dorothy. None of them are related to Dorothy, and they're actually all related to Nina, but because she took the child on as her own, they all think that Dorothy is obviously their grandmother, and that Jan was obviously their grandfather. But really, Dorothy just changed her name to make it look like he just died in the war, and so she wouldn't be frowned upon, and she went and lived with her mother. So that's that. That's how it all sort of pieces together. Meanwhile, Roberta is dealing with the death of her father, and some other events that go on in the book that sort of turn her life upside down. And then towards the end, obviously, even though as an audience we know what's gone on, Roberta doesn't know, so she goes and sees her grandmother and finally pushes for some answers, and her grandmother finally tells her all what happened, who John's mother really is, which was Nina, and how she changed her name, who Jan really is, and all that had happened. And you feel that Dorothy has this sense of relief, because she's finally told her secret, there's nothing left to hide, and towards the end of the book you assume that she just slips away and passes away because she feels at peace. She's told her secret that she's been carrying for decades, and you feel like the book is rounded up really nicely. It all comes to a nice conclusion, and all the ties are answered for you. So I really did enjoy this book. I would really suggest it, to be honest. I found it was very interesting, in the way everything sort of linked together in the end was really nice. So that's my book review today. Let me know if you think you might read this, or if you have read it, what you thought of it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!